Welcome to the next video in this series. In previous videos, you've seen how to traverse a linked list and how to append a value to a linked list. In this video, you'll learn how to insert a node into a linked list halfway through or at any point in the linked list. You should have an existing program with these features. It creates a 2D array, it displays a menu, and it has procedures to traverse the list and to append a value to the list. If you haven't got a program like this, get in touch with me and I can send it to you, or you can make one using the next couple of slides. So this is the top of the program. It creates the 2D array that contains the values A, B, C, D and some empty spaces. And there's a variable storing the header and a variable storing the free pointer. And this is the main program. As you can see, it contains a menu and there are choices to print the whole list using the traverse procedure or to append a data item. You've already written those procedures. If you haven't, look at previous videos in this series which will show you how to do it. Today we're going to create a third procedure called insert, which inserts any new data value into the linked list. So let's plan what commands we need to put into the insert procedure. We've already looked at how the insert procedure works just by visualizing it. And these are the steps. We've got to create a new node with the new data, and we create it at the free pointer. The free pointer tells us where we can put that new node. Then we need to traverse through the list. When we appended, we traversed to the very end of the list because that's where we needed to hook on the new data. But instead, we're going to stop at the insertion point. I'll talk a bit more about how we find the right place. But let's just say we get to the place where we want to add the new node. Now we're going to overwrite the pointer there. So before we overwrite it, we have to copy that pointer into our new node. The new node has got a null pointer, so it's got space. We copy that across and that saves it so that we don't lose the rest of the list. Now we can go to that insertion point and make it point to the new node. That won't overwrite important data because we've already copied it across. And then finally, we have to update the free pointer so that next time round, if we want to add another value, it doesn't overwrite what's gone before. So it's safety first all the way through. We're saving stuff carefully before we overwrite it, and this makes sure that our linked list doesn't break. Okay, you don't have to remember all of that. You may do, but you don't have to. And we're going to go through that now. So I'm going to go through these things step by step. The first thing is to create a new node. You already know how to do that because we did it with the append procedure, but let's just look at it. So we begin the insert procedure. The new data comes up as a parameter. I'm setting the free pointer to global because I'm going to change it. I create a new node at the free point and I set the data part of the new node, that's new node 0, to store the new data, the parameter that's come from the main program. That's exactly the same as the append procedure. Secondly, we traverse to the insertion point. You might think that looks exactly like the append procedure. It does. I've just copied that from the append procedure. What that does is start at the header and go through node to pointer, pointer to node until the pointer is none, which is fine for append because it takes you to the end of the procedure, the end of the linked list. But look how I'm going to change it. I'm going to ask the user to enter the position, like position 2 or position 5, wherever we want to insert the value. And then instead of using a while loop, I'm using a for loop that counts up to that position. Now there is another way we could do it. We could search for a particular value. I'm going to set that as an extension task later. This will do though. So they enter a value, you turn it into an integer, and then you just use a for loop to count up to that value. So that's the traversal part of the procedure. And finally, I need to change the pointers. This was 3 different steps, but it's quite easy to write, so I've put it on one slide. So the new node, the one we've just added, gets the pointer, the value of the pointer. So we're saving the value of the pointer. The node that we've counted to gets the free pointer, and the free pointer is updated by 1. So notice we're saving each value before we update it next time. There's the complete procedure. Can you see the 3 parts? The top part where we create the node, the middle part where we enter a number and count up to that number in the linked list, and the third part where we change all the pointers so that the new node is linked into the linked list at the right position. So some work for you to do. You can make the procedure that's shown here, and you can simply copy it if you want, or try to do it from memory. You can amend it so that instead of giving a number, you could give a data value and use a while loop that will count through the list until it gets to that data value and then insert. And finally, you can add some validation checks so that if the user gives bad input, the program doesn't get into difficulties. For instance, supposing there's only 10 items in the list and they say insert the value at position 15, or if there isn't a Z in the list and they say insert after the value Z, your program shouldn't crash. You should just give them a warning saying couldn't insert or something like that.